This gives me an opportunity to meet people around the world. Everyone wants to know, how are you traveling full time? Everybody's approach to this is different, and not everybody who wants a freedom-based business wants to travel full time. This has been not only a really great way to meet and connect and just have fun with other people, but there's actually been some business opportunities that have come from this. This gives me an opportunity to meet people around the world, where at home, it was the same people at the same bars every weekend, and I wasn't meeting anyone new. If this is something that you desire, just take the first step. You don't need to leap all in today, but just do something to inquire and really get the ball rolling, because you deserve it. Life is short, but would love for you to just live your best life now instead of waiting for retirement to have all of those dreams come true, because so many people don't ever make it there. And then once you do, it may not be what you envisioned. So do it now.
All right, everyone, here we are. We're back again with Jill Collins Connections. I have one of my dearest friends with me today who is the top of the top, the best of the best, the summit, the peak in her area in coaching business owners, people who are actually wanting to get started in business, that have maybe already have a job. Maybe it's you, maybe you have a job, maybe you're working in a career, you have a W-2 income and you're happy with that, or maybe you're not. With the pandemic, we've had a lot of changes and a lot of pivots and things that have happened where we got to take pause and think, what could I do if I wasn't doing this job? Or maybe you lost your job and you've been trying to struggling, figuring out what's next for me. This is the perfect show for you today, because let me tell you, Stephanie Ritz is the master at this. She is truly living the life she loves. She is living her best life, to say the least. And let me tell you, she's a business strategist. She's a mindset coach. And get this, a full-time traveler. And she helps aspiring coaches, consultants, and others who want to grow businesses. And alongside, let me say this, alongside your 9-to-5 job, could be for you, and eventually hoping to give you the confidence to build a profitable business that you can actually leave your job if you choose to. How does that sound? Wouldn't that be fun? I do that myself, so I'm loving it. And so I love meeting other people who do this as well. But Stephanie's actually created a whole program and a strategy, and she teaches this, and she has many ways that she can offer this to you. But we have the luxury and the benefit of having her here today for free to tell us all of her secrets. So welcome, Stephanie Ritz. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Jill. What a beautiful introduction. It's so great to be in your space, my friend. Love you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Love you too. Love you too. Let's jump right in. First of all, let's just get to the juicy fun stuff. Tell us where you are right now.
I am currently in Budapest, Hungary. I have been here for a few days and already loving the entire vibe of this city. What a beautiful piece of our world that I am currently in. And yeah, I am absolutely loving it.
Not too shabby. Okay. So where else have you been? Okay, let's go back. So I think when I met you actually in Clubhouse, and we were moderating, doing a lot of rooms for entrepreneurs and other things. And when did you decide? What were you doing before this? Like tell us a little bit about how you got started. You were in the corporate world and all that. Tell us a little bit about that.
I was in the corporate world, single mom, and when COVID hit, I was supposed to take a bucket list dream trip to South Africa using all of my corporate PTO, which is very limited in the US.
No time off.
What's that? Yeah, paid time off.
Some time off.
And yeah. COVID hit and my trip was canceled, and everybody knows what happens from there. And I decided right then and there that something in life had to change, because I was literally using all of my time to take this vacation. And I wanted to travel. My son was getting older. He was getting ready to leave the nest. And I really wanted to do something for myself. And so during lockdown, I figured out I have a really powerful skill set in the corporate worlds. I am very much generally the only woman in the room, the only woman at the board seat. And this has been this way throughout my entire career. And so I thought about how I could use my current skill set to support women and other underprivileged communities to grow in their corporate career. And so I decided I'm going to be a career coach. And so that's what I did. I actually launched a business while I was in my 9-to-5 as a career coach. And it was 6 months into this journey, after having a beautiful start, people were coming out of the woodworks and it was so fantastic. But by accident, I ended up becoming a business coach. And I say by accident because it was my current clients that came to me to do something more with their career, to level up, to find a way to find happiness and fulfillment, that saw that I was doing something else, that I was stepping my toe outside of corporate. And so they started asking me for guidance and advice. And then I started taking on clients who already had some sort of side hustle and were wondering how I was doing this. How was I becoming so successful? How was I getting clients? And so 6 months into the business, I did a quick little retreat down in Florida by myself. And I really sat on this. Should I be a business coach? Is this feeling really aligned for me? And I absolutely came out of that weekend saying, absolutely, this is definitely the thing for me, because I feel passionate about what I do in helping women in corporate, but also I want out of corporate myself. I want to live a life of freedom outside of the corporate walls so that I can travel. And so it just felt so much more aligned to me to make that pivot and transition. And I've been business coaching ever since.
Oh my gosh. And so the business coaching, you went full time, you just jumped, you bailed, you said, I'm going for it. You burned the boats, as we often say, and just took the leap. So what else? So then now you're here in Budapest. So how did you come up with this idea? You always said you wanted to travel. So since the pandemic, and you said, okay, I had this big Africa trip planned, and you said, I am going to make this happen. So when did you decide, and how long and when did you start your journey, your travel journey? And
So this was never the plan. I had no idea that this was coming my way. I was on Clubhouse and meeting a lot of people in the travel community. And I was like, wow, there's a lot of people who are like me, who just love to travel and are so passionate about it. And here I am, like a single woman wanting to do it on my own because I don't have a partner and I didn't want to wait. And so while I was building my business and really gaining momentum, when things started going back into normalcy, about 6 months later, post-COVID, I asked my boss if I could continue to work remotely because I had been doing so for the past year, very successful in my career. And he said no, he wanted people to be back in the office, back face to face. And I said, okay, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. And so I created an exit strategy. I was very transparent with him. And I waited for my son. Like I said, he was getting ready to leave the nest. And so I needed him to officially do that before I could obviously create this life adventure. And I checked all the boxes that felt really aligned for me to step out of my corporate role and be a full-time entrepreneur. But I didn't want to wait to start traveling until that day came. Just because my boss said I couldn't work remotely doesn't mean that I couldn't be a digital nomad. I had a very large territory, the entire New England component of America for my job. And so I decided, screw it. I'm just going to sell all of my things and just start living in hotels and Airbnbs while I'm in my corporate job. And I'll commute to all the offices I need to go to and build my business. And by embodying the life that I wanted before I had it, is how I accelerated my results. And this is where mindset coaching so comes into play. I wasn't going to wait for someone to tell me to start living my life, but I did want to have certain things in place to make me feel comfortable as a responsible mother, as someone who doesn't have a partner, who was going to have to pay for her own health insurance and 401k and all of those things. So I responsibly lined all of those things up, but I said, I'm going to start living this life now. So I literally in 2 months after we had that conversation, 2 months later, all of my things were gone, moved out of my home and booked my first Airbnb and started traveling around the US for an entire year while I was building out my exit strategy. And then I was done. Everything was ready to go. And so off I went. And I've been traveling internationally for about 13, 14 months now.
This is the story that I think so many people would be, that's my dream.
Yeah.
What you're doing is my dream. And this is why I so badly wanted to interview you and have you on my show, because I know there are people out there that are down, they're depressed, they're resigned in their lives, and they're probably in midlife and they're saying there's got to be more.
Yeah.
And they don't want to wait until they're retired to start doing that. And I had the blessing of being able to retire with my late husband, and we traveled like that for a long time, for many years. And I just maintained that lifestyle after he passed, and I'm so grateful for that. And I can see that people are going to have a lot of questions. So some that came up to me based on what you just said is, first of all, I'm going to recap what you said, is first of all, if someone's really wanting to do this, is even if it's like a compromise, there's some possibilities. Ask your boss if you can work remotely. And just think outside the box. Think of things that are alternatives, some possibilities that maybe in your job you could do. What are others doing in your industry? Or maybe industries that are compatible, right? And then if they say no, what you said is, can I be a digital nomad? And so you figured out you could within your territory with what the type of job you had. So it's getting resourceful, being clever about what possibilities are out there for you. Think outside the box and really get crafty, get resourceful. And then the next question it would be is, even if that's where you are and you're satisfied with that, right? You're getting enough travel, perfect, then you're good. But if you want to really totally break free from the 9 to 5 and you want to have that independence that Stephanie and I both have, and others, so many others, is, I know the next question is going to be, what could I possibly consult on or coach on or teach or do outside of my 9 to 5? So how do people find that before they, because that's the first thing they're going to ask is, what could I possibly do? What could they do? How do you get there? How do you find out?
Let me give you a free resource to think about. There's this Japanese concept called ikigai. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it before, but it's what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what people will actually pay you for. So working through those 4 pillars, do a skill assessment on yourself, because you do have skills that you can use right now to turn into a business, especially if you're a corporate professional, if you're seasoned in any way, shape, or form, but also your own life experiences. I was a single mom for the majority of my son's life. And so that's a life experience that I had, where I had a really successful corporate career as a single mom. Those are skill sets that I could pull on to be a coach to other women who are looking to rise in their career and find that balance and self-care and all of those things. There's things that you have and that you're doing every day in your job right now that you probably don't realize are transferable into the corporate world. Just do a quick skill assessment, write down all the things that you know, and then figure out what is it that you know that you're also enjoying in life, in business, and all the things that you do that you love to turn into a business, because joy and passion is a big part of this. Just doing something that you're really good at isn't going to be the thing that fuels that passion. So finding the things that you love and that you're really good at, that the world actually needs and will pay you for. And I think this is where people stop short of actually starting the business. Is anyone actually going to pay me for this? What is it that like people would actually invest money in that I could teach someone else? And people are blown away by this. You don't need to have a doctorate or an MBA or honestly, any kind of specialty certification. If you have a skill set that somebody else needs support with. And so that's through the discovery process that I go through with new clients when they're trying to figure out what is the thing for me. I do offer a free call because I do want it to be something that is a good business idea. But essentially, to simplify it, if you can solve a problem that someone needs a solution to, and you can do it faster, you can do it better, you can save them time, money, energy, health, happiness. These are things that people will invest money in. If you can solve that for them, you have a profitable business model. And so from there, it's really just getting behind the fact that you own this skill set, you can support people to do it, and now you have a business.
Wow, I love that. So I'm going to look this up and we'll drop the name and get the spelling right. The
Ikigai.
Ikigai.
Yeah.
We'll put that in the description so people can look that up and even find a cool link maybe so people have that, because I've never heard that. I'm going to check that out myself. And I love what you said too, is sometimes people are just trying to get out from under whatever the money situation is for them, and they are looking at how to make the most money to do that. And at the end of the day, that'll just put them in another miserable situation, except for themselves. And that's no fun either. So it's finding what you really love and then assessing and finding out if somebody will pay you for that. I love that. And so doing what you love, not just what you're good at. And I'm thinking too, is you said helping people find a problem that you know how to solve it, that they need. Give us in a couple of examples of maybe a success story. I know I was watching some of and you have a great Facebook group community, and we're going to drop all these links here that Stephanie has. She has 3 different offers and things that are fantastic. And I was in her Facebook group earlier, and it's called, it's called the Freedom-Based Business Builders. It's a free Facebook group, and she has so much free content in there. I told her before we started this recording, I said, sister, you need to be using that to sell some of that. That is so much value there, guys. You got to check it out. And we'll have the links here, so check it out below. But what are some examples, like maybe a couple of things that keep people's creative juices going?
Yeah.
What do you know?
Absolutely. Like, you're a corporate professional who's watching this. There is some sort of zone of genius that somebody's already paying you for, but you're lining up business pockets instead of your own. So being your own boss means you get to use the same exact skill set to boost up your own personal profile, right? Like your own wallet, and really doing something for you. All those hours that you're putting in are for you. And so maybe you're an HR professional, and HR spans a lot of different things. Maybe you're really great at hiring people, finding the absolute perfect candidates for companies. You can do that as your own consultant. Maybe you are a behind the scenes person. You're fantastic at writing like SOPs and company profiles and mission statements. That's something that people find tedious and would do anything to offload to somebody without having to bring on a full-time employee. You could be a consultant for that. Same thing with IT. We are in a tech world. Everything is online, and most people who are starting businesses don't have all of the tech experience. So when you think about, like, you're now in this role as the CEO, you are the business owner, and you're coming into this, but you don't have a CFO, a CMO, a COO, a CPO. And so those gaps need to be filled by other expertise. And so you probably have a skill set that fits into one of those buckets if you worked in the corporate world. But maybe you haven't. One of my previous clients was a salon owner, and she was really fabulous with social media. Like, her social media was amazing. And so she's somebody who could easily do a social media management company or an entire marketing business if she wanted to go that grand. But whatever feels aligned for you and your skill set, you can make an easy, fun side hustle out of, or a really large financial opportunity to create an entire organization and even employ other people if that's what you're passionate about and that's your vision for your company. But for me, mentorship, I was all these years in corporate, and what I loved most about my role was reaching my hand down and bringing other women up with me. I wanted people by my side that looked different from all of the other men in the boardroom. And so that was something I was really passionate about, which is how I ended up doing what I did in career coaching. But obviously that role rolled right into business coaching as well. And that really is coaching. And there is more to coaching than mentorship. However, that is a foundation that is invaluable to other people who are looking to be where you are. So just know, like, hard skills, soft skills, life stories, life circumstances that you've gone through. These are all opportunities to turn what you know into a profitable business.
It's incredible. I love that. And I love the fact that the mentoring, that's why we're so aligned, is reaching a hand down to help others up who are where you've been, and you get them. And to have that natural heart and desire to do that is just so special. So we're aligned there. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that part. And also for sharing some that are not corporate based, because I think some people who are even in sales, maybe they're selling at, I don't know, in retail, and they're like, I'm working 40 hours, I get a check and I get some commission. Or I'm in real estate and I have to be at my job all the time because I literally have to show real estate. So how am I going to have this kind of life if I'm stuck to my listings? And just, there's so many things to think about. And I see with my involvement being in YouTube and learning so much about this too, is just the people that have expertise, and even just putting out starting a channel. And there's actually money to be made in teaching technical aspects of things. You can make money doing that. And so, and still, as you said, if you have Wi-Fi and internet connection, you can do it anywhere. So
yes,
I love that so much. I love that. And okay, so let's go into, because people are going to be hitting up your Facebook group and also scheduling. And Stephanie's she also has one other thing. She has a free case study that I'm going to drop in the link here. You'll see at the bottom. It's the ultimate case study to go from corporate to full-time entrepreneurship in less than 24 months. And there's a link there. You can get that. And also a link to her Facebook group. And I'm telling you, there's so much free content there. It's incredible. Super big value. And then if you really are ready and you want to start and grow a coaching or consulting company, or you're wanting to actually implement these ideas, Stephanie can work with you one-on-one, and she will assess and get on a call with you and help you decide if you guys are a right fit for each other, to actually, if this is feasible for you. Definitely click on that link too, the Calendly link, and tell her that you saw her here, and I'm sure she'll reach out and get you some extra special value there too. So that's incredible. So let's get into the fun stuff. So you went on the road 18 months ago, you said, right?
Yeah, a little over a year I've been traveling internationally, but it's been over 2 years now that I've been traveling full time.
Amazing, amazing. And so tell us your schedule and what have you been doing? Like, where have you been? Like, just a couple places, like nowhere big, right? Just Budapest, and where else have you been?
I have literally been around the world and back. I didn't grow up traveling, Jill. Travel was not like, even the idea of getting a passport to me was just like, why would I even bother? I had a very short-lived marriage, and that was my honeymoon was the first time I got a passport. And we did the all-inclusive thing, and it was great. But once I realized this is something that I could actually do, and it was post-divorce where I was like, I really want to see the world. I never even thought that this was like an option for me, and I just want to do it. And so I took my first solo trip to Italy, and I fell in love. I was like, this is what I was meant to be doing, traveling the world and having this experience. And so I was like, this is it. I want to go and see everywhere. And so I just created a list of all the places that were like top priority for me to go to. And I've just been checking off the list and finding places that made sense along the way. So I started out in Lisbon, went down to Kenya, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Australia, Argentina.
I know we miss each other.
Like,
We miss each other in Argentina. I'm like, how does that happen? Because I live there part time, and I'm like,
I
we just
know we
and so,
missed each
okay,
other, but
Argentina and Kenya. What else? Where were you before Budapest when we talked last week?
I was in Poland.
Oh yeah, Krakow. Yeah.
Yes, I was
Does
in
everybody go
Poland.
there? Yeah.
Places I literally was like, this isn't even a dream, like when I was little, because it just seemed so impossible. And then when I became an adult, it was like, yeah, maybe when I retire, maybe one day I'll get there. And COVID changed everything for me. And I'm just so grateful that was something that came out of it, because I have literally been to 90% of the places on my bucket list just in the first year. And so I travel to a place for typically about a month so that I can settle in, make it home, not feel rushed to explore the city, and still be able to give my attention to my business as needed. But I get to wake up somewhere new and beautiful with beautiful weather, because I always plan it that way wherever in the world I'm going. And yeah, just have this incredible cultural experience and meet people and try new foods and do different things and see things I never thought I'd see. And I get to do what I love with my business and support people in helping them create a freedom-based business for themselves. So this truly has been a dream come true. The reason I created that case study is because I think so often we see people in the online space who brag about the fact that they hit a 6K a year or 6K months, or they're making $500,000 in their first year in business. And the reality is, most people are working a corporate job. They're doing this alongside. They have family, they have other obligations, they're caretakers for their parents, whatever it is. They don't have 40, 60 hours a week to dedicate to growing their business. And so for most people, it's a process to getting to that point where they feel confident enough to leave their 9 to 5. They have a profitable business. They're making enough money that they feel like, okay, I can support myself. I can support my family. It's time to make this transition. And so I wanted to share a realistic look of what it actually looks like to build a business alongside its demanding corporate job. I did it as a single mom, zero financial support, putting my son through college, doing all of these things by myself, and show you what it was actually like. And honestly, that process took me 2 full years. And I really wanted that to be illustrated, because I think a lot of people are like, if I'm not getting clients in my first 6 months, or if I'm not having immediate success, I must not be winning. It must not be going, this is what it's supposed to look like. And it's just simply not true. And I wanted to share that really transparently in this case study.
I love that. And I think that's going to be so helpful to so many people who are just haven't probably even thought of this ever in their lives. Is, as I always say, I want people to walk away from these interviews and say, I can do that. I didn't know that was possible. So we want to get some creative juices going, and having that case study is going to be so cool for so many people to see. So then my next question would be like, can anybody do this? Is this for anybody? Or is this just like people who are just a little bit, what do you think? If there's a will.
I do think when there's a will, there's a way. And I think anyone who's curious, this allows you to dip your toe in the water without saying, I'm quitting my job tomorrow to try this passion project. And that's why I'm really passionate about helping people do this alongside their jobs so that they can really see what it's like to be an entrepreneur. Because anybody who tells you that this is the easiest path to take is selling you a bag of magic beans. It is a process. It is a lot of ups and downs. It's a lot of learning and growth. And you're doing this alongside your already busy life. So there's going to be a time energy exchange that you haven't experienced before. But if this is something you really want to do, if you desire to have this freedom-based lifestyle, not just the business, but the entire lifestyle, 100% is true if you're really willing to commit to making it happen by engaging the right support, by implementing the right strategies, by building and bringing on the right team members to support you while you're in your busy lifestyle, right? There's things that you can do. And I share a lot of this inside the case study as well, so that you can see what is it going to really take to make this happen. I absolutely think anyone who wants it to happen can make it happen. You have to be willing to play the long game, and you have to be willing to invest in yourself to really make it happen with time, money, energy, support, all of the things. And that's going to look a little bit different for everyone based on whatever situation they're coming from. But yes, I absolutely think anyone can do this.
That's amazing. And I think that's what I love about your blend of the hybrid of being a strategist and a mindset, like a coach, is that you don't just give like advice and strategies, is that you also help with mindset. Because I can imagine, I can think of people that I know who are wanting to do that, what you're doing right now. And there's this mindset of limiting beliefs about money. Maybe they have too much debt, or they think they'll never get out of it, or what's family gonna think? Or I have alimony I have to pay, and I can't leave my job because I'm responsible for, I have this huge commitment that I'm never going to be able to pay. And I need the certainty to know that I'm going to be able to pay this. So I'm stuck. It's, and there's this feeling of victim mentality sometimes, where there's blame, there's bitterness, resentment. And so your mindset coaching, working with someone like that one-on-one, really can help. I think I'm suspecting that this would probably be the perfect thing, is that's what you would do, is help them walk through that journey of, it's not the way you think it is. You can get through this.
Yeah, most people hire me because they think, okay, I need support with a strategy. I've never owned a business before. Help me to figure out the logistics and the foundations. But honestly, what most people need is that mindset support. And yes, the strategy for me, I always knew from the moment that I became a business coach that the strategy was not only going to be easy for me, but it was going to be fun. This is my zone of genius, absolutely. But the mindset piece of it is so important, and people want to like brush over that and not realize how essential that is. But you're getting visible in a really new way. Not everybody's going to be on board or even understand why you would want to choose this path, because this isn't the normal path, right? This isn't what society teaches us to do. You go to college, you get married, you have your career, you have your 2 kids, maybe you go back to work, maybe you don't. And that's life. You wait till your retirement and then you go travel. And so when you want to do something outside of the norm, especially when you've been in a professional capacity for however long that you have, it's this process of unlearning that you don't have to show up as this corporate person anymore. You get to authentically be you and show up in your business in a whole new, fun, exciting way. And that takes a big mindset shift. Being the CEO of your own business is a huge mindset shift. And so this to me was an essential component in my business model to make sure that people really did feel aligned to living this life and being an entrepreneur and staying in it until they get the results that they desire, which again, I just so believe is true if it's something that you really want.
Oh my gosh. Okay. 2 things come to mind when you say all of that. One is identity. And I've worked with people, I've had associates and friends in my circles who have wanted this thing. And what I've noticed in them is what stops them is the fear of, it's not even fear, it's so subconscious, but it's, I'm the professional, there's that the basic human needs, the significance. If they're the CEO of their, or not the CEO, but if they're like known as the top engineer in their field, like you were probably one of the top in your field, is who am I if I give that up? And so it's so much deeper than that. It's not just, I just want to quit because I want to travel. It's then who am I? How do I describe myself when I'm going around and I'm getting on an airplane and someone says, what's your name? What do you do? And you're like, I don't know. I used to be. And then you go the used to be route. And so it's so important that we get that mindset shift too of the identity, and that we still have value and we're still important and we still are doing something special. So I love the fact that you say we're the CEO of our own company.
Yeah.
We need that transition, or that probably that helping hand that you offer, is that how do you transition into that where you still feel relevant and important and like you're making an impact when you let go of that identity, that title of who you were in the past, because that's a big shift. A lot of people can't give that up. And I've seen it, many personal examples or experiences. So that's one. And the other one I'm thinking of too is when family doesn't agree or friends start to judge you, is your community, I suspect, is like a tribe where people are on the same thing and they can support each other and helping. And so you're finding this tribe within your community of people that are going like, yeah, we're all doing this too. And so there's that, I love that 33% rule. It's like elevating, find people who are doing what you want to do and start finding them and spending time with them, because that's where you're going to shift, is when the identity starts to shift, as you're in that group now and not in the group of people that are working 40 hours a week, going for happy hour at the end of the day, maybe going to the tailgate at the barbecue, or doing this thing on the weekend, and you binge watch a bunch of TV, you see your kids and you do your thing, and then you go back to work and do it again. It's, no, I've got this new tribe of people that I'm actually up leveling.
Yes. So important, so essential. I'm so glad that you called out both of those points, because it really does make an impact on your energy, how you show up for your business, even rationalizing how you spend your time, because you'll go through that process of, I'd love to, but I'm spending Saturday working on my business, and feeling really good and empowered to say that instead of feeling any guilt, doubt, shame, or any of those things. And knowing that you can go online to your community of people, vent out what's going on, ask for support, ask for advice, and other people are going to say, yep, I feel that too. And it really does help and support you with building you up and building up your CEO mindset.
My gosh, you're a blessing to so many. This is so beautiful. I'm loving this. And so the next big question that keeps hitting my head, going into my brain constantly through this whole conversation is going to be, how can I afford this? You're traveling all the time. You're not just making money. Now you're having to pay to live. How do you do this? Is it expensive? Can I afford to do this? I don't make that much in my current job. So how can I expect to make this work? How do the finances work?
Yeah, everybody's approach to this is different, and not everybody who wants a freedom-based business wants to travel full time. But for those of you who do, for me, I really made it simple. I took the household bills that I was paying when I had my house, and I had the bills, the utilities, the cable, all of the things. And that was a budget that I created for myself. And so that's the budget that I still keep today. So if you're spending, and obviously depending on where you live, this could greatly vary. Your expenses could be maybe $1,500 a month to $5,000 a month. So just depending on the lifestyle and how you want to live, because listen, I'm not a 22-year-old backpacker. I don't do the hostels thing. I don't do the low budget hotels. But there's nothing wrong with that if that's the thing that gets you to be able to travel. But knowing that about yourself is what makes this an incredible experience. So I generally do Airbnbs and or hotels, depending on where I'm going. And I have my budget, the household budget that I had when I was in that traditional 9 to 5 and had a house and all of those things. And I took that budget and I applied it to my monthly expenses for travel. And that includes everything. So how I'm getting from A to B, my Airbnb and hotel bills for the month, and any other related expenses, that's my budget. And I do stick to that budget because it is just me. I don't have anyone to call or support and say, hey, like, I'm short this month. Can you help me? And I say that because I want you to know, whether you are single or married or whatever your situation is, you can do this. Like you said, if there's a will, there's a way. And for me, I had the will. There was no way I was going to wait to meet my partner to start living the life that I always desired. And so just know that this is possible for you. But that is how I budget and how I do it. And I plan out my travels typically 6 months in advance. And the reason I do that is I actually started this year inviting clients to come join me for in-person travel intensives, which I'm not a tax advisor, so I'm not going to give tax advice here. But just know this is a business investment and you're traveling. So you guys can put 2 and 2 together there. But this has been such a game changer for me because I am an extrovert. I love being with people and they love my energy. They are lit up in their business when they can see me face to face and our laptops can be right next to each other, just doing all of the strategy and implementing it together. And so I created these 2-night luxury intensives abroad where I invite people to come travel with me for 2 nights, have an incredible experience, and really build out their 6-figure strategy together. So if you are wanting to travel and make this a part of your business investment for the year, that's another option. But just know that there are a lot of ways you can travel. You can keep your home and just travel when you want to, bring your laptop, bring all the things that you need to run your business. And the only thing that you really need to navigate from that point is time zones, something that I'm often asked about a lot as well. But that is, to answer your budget question, that is how I budget it for myself.
I love that. And it's something, because those were just perfectly described, and it's so exciting, those trips you're talking about too. So I'm sure you'll have that on your social and post that. So we'll be able to see when those are coming up for people that are wanting to be a client and then potentially traveling with you. And actually, we talked about this the other day when we chatted, is my background in home exchanging. And I'm going to be doing a talk on this very soon and probably even starting a program on it. And maybe we could do a collaboration. This might be fun too, is to do what you're teaching, and then we could go to some home exchange sites. So what I do with home exchanging is I basically use my 2 properties as to bounce off of their collateral. They are an asset that I can use. It's like the movie The Holiday. So it's the ability to do that. So I'm not spending any extra money. And I just went through yesterday afternoon. I spent an hour. I have 40 or 50 emails of people that were interested in coming to the one in Miami and a couple in Buenos Aires. And it's, I don't have a reason to really go, but maybe I could. So you're inspiring me to do more travel again. And it's like, usually lately it's been like a seminar for me or a mastermind group that's going somewhere fun or whatever. But yeah, the traveling alone, I'm so curious that you find, you're so social. So I'm sure you meet people all the time, everywhere you go. And as a single woman, you get to get out there a little bit and see people. And, but it's fun that how does that work for you? How do you feel about traveling alone? This is a little off topic, but curious.
Yeah, it's a good question because a lot of people are wondering, like, how is it? And here's what I'll say. It's not different from home in the respect that when I wish I had somebody at home, I wish I had somebody here. That part doesn't change. You can't run away from your problem, so to speak. That's not necessarily a problem, but just to understand the concept of how it feels. However, this gives me an opportunity to meet people around the world, where at home, it was the same people at the same bars every weekend, and I wasn't meeting anyone new. And so now I'm meeting new people literally every day because people are living here and or on holiday. And what's really cool is I have made so many connections with other travelers. And then when I go to their country, we're meeting up, we're getting drinks, we're hanging out, and it has just been so fun. But I do book usually like 3 to 4 tours while I'm in whatever city that I'm in, so that I can specifically meet people, because a lot of these tours I could just do on my own, but I don't want to. I want to be with people. And so this has been not only a really great way to meet people and connect and just have fun with other people, but there's actually been some business opportunities that have come from this as well, because everyone wants to know, how are you traveling full time? And so naturally the conversation comes up and people are excited to learn more. And so, yeah, it's been, that part of it is just been so exciting and amazing. And it's just such a game changer for me personally, from being at home and seeing the same people every weekend.
It's a whole new way of life, for sure. So
Yes.
what are your plans for the future? How do you see yourself in a couple of years? You're still going to be doing this?
I'm not putting the pressure to make that decision on myself. I'm just going to keep traveling until it doesn't feel aligned for me to do so anymore. And then I will pick a place in the world that I have just loved and don't want to leave, or maybe I'll meet a person that I don't want to leave, or I'll just go home. And there's nothing wrong with that either, because I do love my home. I'm not escaping America. I do love my home city. I'm from Philadelphia, and so I've got family that still lives outside of Philly. I've got family everywhere. My son is now in Nashville. My parents are in Florida. So I've got a lot of options to just go home if that feels aligned for me to do. Beautiful friends and family around the world at this point. So I feel like I have a lot of exciting options ahead, and I'm just going to keep going, like I said, until it doesn't feel aligned for me to continue anymore. But as of right now, it's been an incredible journey. And yeah, I'm just taking it like a few months at a time and enjoying the ride.
I'm so excited for you. This is just so inspiring and so uplifting, and just there's so much goodness here. And so that leads me to the next question is where, what are your favorite places? What's your top 3 of places that you've been to so far?
Oh, that's a tough one, Jill.
I gave you 3 instead of 1. 1 is like really hard, I know. Maybe it's where would you go back to again?
Since I've been traveling, I have not repeated any places, but I am this year. I am going back to Florence, Italy. I absolutely adored Florence the first time I was there, and I had only spent a few days there. So now I'll be spending a few weeks there, and I cannot wait to go back. So Florence is definitely at the top of my list, and loved Australia. It was one of those things. I know this sounds really silly, but everybody has their thing. I always wanted to hold a koala in Australia, and not just hold one, take a photo, but I wanted to snuggle a koala. And I got the chance to do that when I went to Perth. And I actually stayed with an amazing, beautiful friend of mine who I met on Clubhouse, who lives in Perth. And that was just absolutely magical. I traveled across Australia, and there wasn't a place that I visited that I didn't love. But there's only been one place that I've traveled to that I didn't love, which I won't say because I don't want hate mail. But honestly, it's all been new and exciting for me. And every place has something really unique and special about it, which is why I've loved travel. And it has given me so much inspiration too in my personal life, for my business. Bringing people with me on these travels has just been a game changer for them, for me. And so I'm just so grateful for all of it. But yeah, I really have loved everywhere that I have been, except for that one place. I'll tell you offline.
Insider access. That's great. That's great. I hope it wasn't Argentina.
Loved Argentina. Would go back there in a heartbeat.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Maybe we'll do a trip there. We'll do something fun there together. Maybe invite people for something like that. That'd be great. I've been thinking about that for a while. I'm telling you, this has been so insightful. And is there anything else that maybe someone that I've missed that you really want to touch on that someone might want to hear that they need to hear that would help them?
I just think if this is something that you desire, if you are sitting in your office watching this on your lunch break, or trying to not be in that Zoom meeting for the 5th time this week, if you are looking out the window and thinking there has got to be something more for me than this, just take the first step. Let's jump on a call and let's have a conversation around what it is that you do. And let's figure out, is there a business inside of you? Because I do believe there is for everyone, but then it's just a matter of how much do you want it? Are you really willing to invest the time and energy to make it happen? And if so, you've got my full support to make it happen. And just know that it is possible. And it may not take 3 months or 6 months. It may not be one of those overnight success stories, but it also could be. And so it can happen just like that. But even if it takes 2 years, wouldn't you rather be having more time with your family, traveling the world, doing all the things that you always dreamed of doing in 2 years from now, as opposed to being where you are now, feeling unfulfilled or unhappy? So just listen to that inner voice. Just take the first step. You don't need to leap all in today, but just do something to inquire and really get the ball rolling, because you deserve it. Life is short, and we both know that. Everybody knows that life is short, but would love for you to just live your best life now instead of waiting for retirement to have all of those dreams come true, because so many people don't ever make it there. And then once you do, it may not be what you envisioned. So do it now.
Do it now while you're vital and you have like the energy to do the fun things that are like, it's really incredible. I've had the blessing and the luxury of being able to be retired, so to speak, in my late 30s, early 40s, and to travel the world like that. And I'm grateful that I had that time to be in that space and not wait till I was 65 or 70 or whatever. And so now I get to do, it also gave me a perspective that I didn't know that was possible. So now I guess I'm a little spoiled. I'm like, I'm not going to go back to a job again because I don't want to do that. So this has been a really great talk today, and I'm so grateful for you. And I'm so glad we met a couple of years ago on Clubhouse. I just feel like I know you so, and we've had so many great experiences and conversations over the past couple of years. So I definitely also want to connect with you in person in one of your next travels. Where are you up to? Where are the next destinations for you after Budapest? I know you just got there last week.
Yes, I will be in Europe for 4.5 more months. So heading over to Ireland for a month, going down to London, Paris, Florence, as I shared, Scotland, and then I'll be heading back to the States. So yeah, it's a European adventure for me this year.
Fantastic, fantastic. We can't wait to hear more about your journeys and follow you. So thank you again for the time and for sharing your experiences with us and your knowledge. And definitely everyone who's watching, check out Stephanie's Facebook group, schedule a call. It can't hurt, it's free. And every time I get on a call with her, I pick her brain and she teaches me something about what I need to be doing. And I'm like, thank you, that was so great. And her Facebook group too is so good. That case study is also going to give you some insights and get the creative juices flowing. So definitely reach out to me if you need more information. F definitely going to hook you up and watch more of these videos. These interviews are incredible. I am enjoying this so much. And I'm learning along the way, right along with you. And tell me more about who else you want to hear from. What other kind of topics do you want me to cover? It's so much fun. This has been a blast. So Stephanie, thank you again. And thank you for connecting with me. And everyone else, stay connected and share and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Take care. Thanks, everybody. Bye.